Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome inside the Fan Cave. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. You know the drill. Call us at 412-575-2600, or you can tweet us as well, at KDPomp, at Chris Mueller, PGH. Tonight we begin with a topic that has become a recurring theme, and that is one-run losses, stranded men on base, runners in scoring position who don't score, bullpens that give games away. And so, Chris, today we saw all of that in a series in which the Pirates starters went for a combined 1.89 ERA. They found a way to lose 2 of 3 in this one. And I guess the bigger question is David Bednar. As much as you want him to be, what he was when he first started here and into last season, and he had a good streak in the middle of this season, but lately it's not been very good at all. And furthermore, a question I always have, and I've said it before and I'll probably tell you again, I don't understand why everyone's on 1 inning despite a low pitch count. Aroldis Chapman mowed people down. So did Kyle Nicholas. And Kyle Nicholas is a high leverage guy these days, and he should be. But why do you have to constantly just go 1 inning at a time? And especially the way Bednar has struggled. I know you can't give up on him, but I think in this situation, the way Chapman pitched, I would have brought him back out for the 9th inning.
I mean, I'm just happy that when you said a recurring bad story or a frustrating story, it didn't immediately go to, okay, no news on Brandon Aiyuk.
Well,
it's
that's
refreshing
coming
to talk about the...
No, I'm just kidding. It's not. Although we do have a tweet about it.
No.
That'll be it.
I will just say a couple of things. I have a lot I could say here. As far as why do they not go more than 1 inning, that's feel. That's what most of these guys think they're going to pitch as 1 inning, even if it's a very quick inning. But I agree that good managers sense the situation sometimes or the state of the bullpen and try to coax a little more out of a guy, especially if he has a quick inning. Although it almost feels quaint, Bob. I respect how seriously you're still taking the Pirates season because, if they were 1 game out in the wild card and we were talking about should they be giving Chapman 2 innings, I'd totally get it. But they're so dead and buried, mainly because of David Bednar and Colin Holderman, that it's almost a moot point. But I just think Shelton has no idea how to handle his bullpen. I don't think he has a feel for that. And as far as Bednar, I'll get on my high horse here. I understand that decisions can't be made in a vacuum and that a guy like Ben Cherington, a team like the Pirates, might actually care about whether or not they have a hometown star-level player or a very good player on the roster because it'll sell tickets. David Bednar should have been traded last year. What value did he have to a team that was going nowhere when he actually was pitching well? They didn't have the gumption to trade him when they should have, and now, unfortunately, they're getting some of the blowback as he is a major reason why this year's team that did trade and add at the deadline isn't going to be playing meaningful baseball and hasn't been for a week or two.
Yeah, with that in mind and no meaningful baseball, I don't know about you, but I'm anxious to see some other people. The days of Michael A. Taylor playing center field for now should be over. The days of, people like Ji-Hwan Bae, I'm sorry, I don't need to see any more. I want to see people in their system to at least get some sort of understanding of what these guys can bring next year. Do you think they'll do that at all? And if so, who? Because Henry Davis should be number 1 on my list. I want to see him up here, and he's hitting the ball well down there. Let's go. Find a place for him.
What about Nick York or about the guy from Baltimore that I literally whose name I forgot, even though he's tearing it up because they literally traded for him?
Billy,
Cook?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. No relation to Ron. Hey, Billy, it's Ron Cook. How are you? I'm retired. No, I mean, I would like to see these guys. The York and Cook, it seems like these guys are tearing it up in the minors, and yet they're just sitting there. I'm with you completely. Nicholas should get a chance to be the closer if you feel like he's your emerging new high-leverage guy, especially after some of the adversity he had to pitch through in terms of just not pitching well. Give him a shot. But, man, if they just keep trotting players out there, I think Ben Cherington said, this past weekend that they haven't given up on the season. Greg Brown is as much of a glass-half-full guy as it gets. When I talked to him 2 days ago, or yesterday, Bob, he said we're pretty much rapidly approaching the point in time where you wave the white flag. And that was before 2 more infuriating losses. So I think it's high time to do that now. There is no winning streak coming over the hill to save you. Start playing the young guys and figure out what you have and don't have for 2025.
I totally agree with that. I want to see that. At least will get your attention here in the next month or so. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Steelers, and Russell Wilson said he's going to play on Saturday. Is that the right move? We got Chris's opinion and mine, and we'd like to hear you as well. It's 412-575-2600. It's the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We're live on KDKA Plus and 93.7 The Fan. Welcome back. Our GMC Sierra tweet of the night comes from Mike Garafolo, NFL Network. Chris didn't want to see this, but we're going to see it just because it updates you. Day 30 of the Brandon Aiyuk hold in. He and the 49ers haven't budged in recent days. Aiyuk seems dug in. The Steelers still waiting and still in play. I just hope – I'm getting to the point now where I understand the need there, but it looked like they have a lot of other needs here that have to be dealt with, not just now but next year. The kind of money we're talking about, again, I'm just – as much as I like Brandon Aiyuk, I think he's a good player. I don't think he's elite. And I don't know how much he will help. He'll help this year, but just the question is how much. And when you commit 4 years to him at that money, is it worth it to you, Chris?
No, I've never thought the player was worth it. I have echoed the sentiment of we're doing this all for Brandon Aiyuk this entire time. But can I just say, an editorial comment, if you will allow me and indulge me, Bob.
Sure.
I am on my muscle today. Pony brought up Justin Fields at 5 o'clock and like a switch flipped in my brain, and I've been angry ever since. There was no update there from Mike Garafolo. There wasn't. Jordan Schultz giving updates about they're close on a contract. No, these are not updates. Brandon Aiyuk and the 49ers still being far apart or apart enough to not be signed, and Aiyuk also not being traded to the Steelers, not an update. Like, this really has been the status quo for days now, if not weeks. And everybody involved, not you, but I mean like the newsbreakers on a national level, are acting like they have scoops. They don't. I actually give Adam Schefter credit. He's mostly sat this one out because I think as a veteran of many of these situations, he realizes that this is just like nothing, much ado about nothing. There's nothing happening here.
No, I agree, and we haven't done anything with it because there's nothing to say about it. People want to keep talking about it. It's the same conversation over and over and over. So we'll push on that. Let me ask you about Russell Wilson. He said today he's going to play. I think he should. I think a lot of people should. Again, for a series or two, it doesn't have to be long, but just to get something out of this preseason. So far, we haven't seen anything really from this first-team offense at all. To you, is it that important to do, or would you back off and not play anyone of the starters? I
think you usually know me, Bob. I'm the guy who says, hey, the only bad things can happen in the preseason. And back in the Roethlisberger days, there was no need for him to play, or Pouncey or DeCastro, guys like that. Really, that whole line, maybe just get a series for some of the linemen just to knock the very basic rust off. But they looked so bad against Buffalo on the line, and the quarterback situation still looked so unsettled, just with both guys looking, I would say, unimpressive. I don't think Fields was that impressive at all. I don't know why that narrative was out there that he was.
I agree with you. I don't think he was that impressive.
I think both of these guys need to play. I need to see Russell Wilson 2 or 3 series, like make one of those downfield plays that he did make last year. I need to see one of them, or both of them preferably, not just sit there, Bob, and hold the ball for what seems like an eternity. Like, for all the excitement Justin Fields generates because of what he can do with his legs, there is an absolute complete lack of decisiveness when he is back there in the pocket. Like, he just is not seeing what he needs to see quick enough and then pulling the trigger in a resultant manner.
All right, let's get to the lines. A lot of people want to talk here. Chris, 412-575-2600, Ireland Contracting. Nightly Sports Call. Kirk in Manor is our first caller tonight, down on line number 5. It's our number 1 Cochran call of the night. What's up?
Evening, Bob. Evening, Chris. Hey, I just wanted to ask you guys, is this like Groundhog Day or something? I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, in the last 7 of his 8 appearances, he has given up runs as a closer, and his ERA has to be well over
5.
6.
Well, maybe 6 now. I don't know what it is. I didn't calculate today. But yeah, I mean, he's been good.
It's 556, by the way.
What's that?
It was 556 heading into today, so it's got to be pushing 6 for the season.
Yeah.
That's how bad he's been.
Yeah, last 9 outings, he's lost 2, blown 3, and even the ones that have been good have had some rocky moments to them. Let's go out to Josiah in San Antonio. What's up? Josiah, what's up?
Hey, Bob. Hey, Chris. I just had a couple quick questions about the Steelers offense. Number one, it seems like since Le'Veon Bell left, the running the game has really been really weak. It's not as stable, as strong as it used to be. I feel like when they had Bell, that was really the last time our running game was really efficient. And let me ask you this real quick on to next year. if this offense comes into the season averaging 17 points a game, the Steelers are in for a long season. They have to produce more than 17 points because I'll tell you this. If they can't get more than that, they're going to get blown out of the stadium. You can't average more than 17 points. Come on.
Well, and that's what the problem is. Under Canada, they were near, the bottom each of the 3 years. It got progressively worse. So more than anything else, that has to be the end game. They have to score points. They can't rely on Chris Boswell. They can't play it tight. They don't want to make mistakes and play close games. But in this league, if these quarterbacks all remain healthy, and last year they did catch a break in many respects, you're going to have to score some points to beat Kirk Cousins on opening day if he plays. I'm sure of that.
I mean, does Mike Tomlin have a willingness? I know that everything we've seen in the preseason suggests they should be cautious. Does he have a willingness to let his hands off of 10-2 and at least let them try to score points? He wants to win the turnover battle. He throttled down the offense, not that I think it had much to give anyway last year, because he wanted to play it close to the vest. They are not going to win 10 games if they play like they did last year. They got ridiculous luck with backup quarterbacks, and they can't continue to be a team that lives and dies literally almost to the game by the turnover battle. Do you know what their record is the last 3 seasons, Bob, when they lose the turnover battle?
I know it's terrible, like most teams actually.
But I mean, some teams occasionally have the firepower to win. They are 0-15-1 in their 16 games they've lost it. The last 3 seasons when they win it, they're 28-7. So yeah, that's good winning football, but that can't be the be-all, end-all. They have to open this thing up, and Josiah actually made a point I liked. You can argue a lot of things ended the great Steelers offense, Ben and AB splitting up. They were never as dynamic as they were when they had Le'Veon Bell and all the options he presented to them.
Yeah, and those options were terrific. Those 3 together, if they had just stuck together for a while, who knows what it might have resulted in. Let's go out to Chuck in Uniontown. Hello, Chuck. How are you this evening?
Good evening, fellas, and thanks. I can't. Can you see any progress that the pilot organization made this year? I really can't, because, there's overall, I'm talking about organization, there is no rhythm to this organization. You have, for example, you have a marked different feeling this year. At the end of last year, you're 14 games better than you did the year before. There's hope. What's hopes to hang your head on this year?
Well, you'd like to see some offensive hope, Chuck. That's the one thing that we haven't seen anything develop through their system. Now they've brought some people in. Let's see what they can do. And, for guys like Sawinski and Davis, I thought 2 keys coming into the season to both just put themselves in these situations. It's really disappointing, and it'll take them back a little bit. The progress has been with certain pitchers, starting pitchers specifically. But you knew Skeens, Chris, is going to be good. Jared Jones has been a pleasant surprise, and hopefully it will continue to be. And Keller's put it together now. I was glad to see what he did yesterday. But, other than that, what do you have?
Ortiz has been, I think, more good than bad, although it's been bumpy lately. Chuck is one of our keenest observers of the Pirates, and he's right. They're going to finish with around last year's win total, if not less. I think you come out of this season, if that happens, and it probably will, feeling worse about them, because all the things you mentioned with the starting pitching, Skeens, no one maybe thought he'd be this good, but we thought he'd be pretty good. Jones is a nice story. They can't develop hitters. He's right. There's no rhythm. The coaching is poor. They still make just grievous fundamental errors. Jack Sawinski's career, I'm not exaggerating here, might be over. Do you know what he was, I think, until the last game he played in AAA? He was 1 for 39 down there.
Terrible.
He has just been wretched. Henry Davis is a mess. You just said it to start the show. They don't want to call up these young guys yet, it seems. Maybe it'll happen in September and let them show what they can do. This feels like a team that mostly spun its wheels after a promising start and has actually gone backwards.
Yeah, and they're gonna, they have to spend money this offseason. It's strict, and not just little bits here and there. They got to actually go out and make some really good signings offensively, because I don't see anyone next year from that AAA or AA system being up here playing, other than Davis potentially. I don't know if Sawinski can get it back. What would you do with Davis? I want to see him now, though. I want to see what his bat is for the final month of the season. I don't care where they play him. McCutcheon's on the injured list now. Put him at DH if you don't catch him.
I guess I would DH him. I mean, Joey Bart, I will say one other positive thing if I'm going to try to be fair to them. Joey Bart looks like he's an obvious choice as everyday catcher. That guy looks like the real deal. If he gets There's always the chance, I guess, he regresses if pitchers see him more often, but I think his pedigree suggests he might not. He looks like a guy who could hit you 18 to 20 home runs as a catcher next year, maybe even a little bit more than that, and play okay behind the plate. Let Davis DH, let him do something. I mean, for as much credit as everyone wants to give them for how they've generally handled Skeens and brought him along, Henry Davis looks like a colossal bust right now as a 1-1 pick. And that goes right on Ben Cherington's record, the same as anything people might want to be inclined to give him praise for.
Ted in West Mifflin. Hello, Ted. What's up? Ted, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to say how glad I am that football's coming up, because here we go again for the next year. But I got one question. When's the big payday for Mr. Skeens? When's the $300 million, $250 million?
Well, first of all, he's got to keep doing this, but if he does, it'll be sooner rather than later, because I don't think, and when I say that, it'll be with a year out remaining probably, or I don't know, Chris, do you think it'll be sooner than that? I mean, if he puts up, let's say next year he comes up, he's in Cy Young contention.
Wait, are you saying the Pirates? Wait, are you saying the Pirates would pay him $250 to $300 million?
It's when they move him to another team, because they're not going to pay that kind of money. But when is that date?
He'll probably pitch 5 years for the Pirates.
It's sad to even say that, though, don't you think? I mean, it's sad to say that they won't. You can make a payment like that. You could do it if you want.
Yeah, of course they could. They could pay two guys like that if they really wanted to. They could pay two guys top of the market money. San Diego blew this whole thing up for people when they started paying lots of different players a lot of money, like real honest-to-God money. They exposed the ruse. I mean, everyone wants to believe that small market franchises are completely helpless. And you had, I think, the commissioner of baseball really give up the game when he sort of like turned a side eye towards them and said, yeah, we'll see if they can keep it up. Their fans show up for day games there. That is not a huge market. There's a decent amount of people, but it's not a good TV market. They get sellouts because people are actually energized. So the Padres put a lot of egg on a lot of different teams' faces, I think the Pirates included, because they prove that if you really want to go out and do it, you can actually do it.
That's even after they traded Juan Soto. They still have a really good team with a lot of high-priced players. We're going to take a break. Come back with more. It's the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We're live right here on KDKA Plus and 93.7 The Fan.